So hello, everyone. Today is day 3 of our masterclass, and I will be talking about everything about gut health in this 1 hour or 40 minutes that we have together. So I hope you have your workbook where I have like few points that we will mention today. We'll be mentioning today, and this is something that I am so I can't really read enough of the new research because it's coming up every day, something new. This is pretty new. We always knew that we have in a gut some kind of microbes, but what they're doing, and we know what they're doing now. It's like basically they're running the whole show in the body. And when the gut bugs are not ideal growth, like we have wrong species, it can create really inflammation, and I will talk about it more. But before we start, I would like to have 3 reminders that I really would like to share with you, because I think it's super important that we kind of go deep here, not just talking about science and what to cook, but we really. So first thing I want to mention is that I touched a little bit about nutrients yesterday, but I want to say that basically we are protein. A protein we have everywhere in our body, and our DNA is really unique to us, and the wiring of DNA, it's really unique to each of us. We can't do much about it, but really our DNA is only instruction manual. I learned it myself. I told you my genetic is I should be diabetic. I'm not, because I changed my lifestyle in the way that basically I'm switching on genes that are protecting me to not get into diabetes. Same with my rosacea. I will always just unmute someone here. I will always have rosacea, and if I go to my old myself where I lived before, I would have inflammation again. So we have unique DNA, but what I want to tell you today is really, it's only the instructions that we give to DNA, because these DNA will specifically tell which protein to build, which molecules to build. So we have really a lot of power. This whole science called epigenetic. You can Google it and learn about it more. It's not in this program. I'm not talking much about it, but I need to mention it because we have so much power of our health. Is just incredible. And so thinking about the protein, it's more than just what you see on the label. They are really such a molecule, and they're really so complex. So I want to just touch it, because as well which lead me to when I'm talking to protein, to my second point I want to mention. I touched on it yesterday as well, but our cells are masters of recycling, chopping up old and really damaged proteins into pieces, and then creating from the reuse it and create really new molecules, new protein, new cells. And this process, as is really literally translating, it calls like self-eating. We call it autophagy. Maybe you heard this term before, and I touched on it yesterday or before, maybe Monday, when I was talking about fasting. I mentioned this book before. This is the circadian code of Sachin Panda. He is from the Salk Institute, and he did extensive research of the circadian rhythm and link to our well-being, especially the circadian fasting. So we know that this autophagy is basically how we get rid of the old damaged molecules and broken really the cellular components, that are no more serving us, no more working correctly. And this recycling, this autophagy, is really important to us. And it was actually underlined by Nobel Prize in 2016. There was Japanese researcher Yoshinori Oshumi, and he basically discovered the autophagy. So I want to remind you today that autophagy is absolutely critical. Have it in your head if you hear it sometimes, because this will come to mainstream at some point. Sorry, I just unmute the people here. This will come to a mainstream, and you will know what to do, because we know how to switch on autophagy, because that's, as I told you before, that the sirtuins, the genes for longevity, we know how to switch them. Eating sugar is the one that we don't want to do, because that switching them off. So that's why we're doing this work, because we want, this is what we want. We want longevity. We want to feel as good as long as possible. And this autophagy is critical, and we have to switch it on. And how we do it, the research is showing us that that's why the fasting is so crucial. Not only like losing weight, it's all good. It's good thing to lose weight, but it's basically helping us to regenerate, and especially if we do it overnight. That's why the, eating late, having snack with TV, and then having early breakfast doesn't serve us. And as I cannot prescribe you any diet and can't tell you what to do, I can just, you have to ask your physician if you can fast. I can tell you that what will really work for you will be fasting this 16 hours overnight when you don't eat, and then the 8-hour window when you will have some meals that are nutritious and delicious. So there are other options as well. People having 1 meal a day, which I really don't like, but that's option. But and then you have as well the like prolonged fasting, like 36 hours. Actually, I didn't do it for a long time. I did it before COVID. I did the 1 week fast, and I can tell you, then I understood why fasting is a spiritual, practice, because you will feel connected to everything. The day, I think from the day 4, I was like, it's hard to explain, but it was amazing. But I don't suggest anybody to do that, because you have to have a metabolic flexibility. You have to be able to tap into sugar as well as a fat reserve. Especially, it's not for someone fasting who has a history of eating disorders. So again, it's just I'm just spreading my knowledge and just general guidance. It's not for prescribing or tell you what to do as such. And one last thing that I want to mention, and I will be talking, I always talk about this all the time, is that we want to find our why. That's why I always say, ask yourself why you're doing this, and ask 3 times, because we want to go inside out, how we approach this, and thinking about that our body is a temple, really sacred temple, because like we have to love this body that we have, because it's our only thing that we have for this human experience. When it doesn't work, we're not here, right? And so really to think about this from inside out instead of outside in. Sometimes we want to like look better, eat better, look better in our clothes, have more flexibility in the movement, and lose weight, and heal the skin, or all that is great. Have more confidence, it's all great, but there is a risk. This will not sustain for long term. We might say at some points like, it's not worth it. Why I'm pushing myself to doing this? But if we realize that everything what we do is either building our body and mind and reinforcing our ability for this, our temple, to sustain us through the longevity of life, or we are quietly really destroying it, and really quietly, because it takes years before we have a symptom. It takes years before we develop a disease like diabetes or high blood pressure or any lifestyle related disease. And the thing is that our bodies are so resilient, we can actually go very long time not in optimal health, which is, I would say, it's a privilege and curse, because we can get away with a lot of stuff without really promoting the health and well-being. So it's something that I want you to realize it's really important. And for example, like having a headache can be it's a symptoms, and someone might say, well, I have this really high fly job, and I'm executive or whatever, and this is at least of my concern. I can take something to help me with, but it's a sign that body is out of balance. So we have to really see, and that's why we talked yesterday about really feeling the body better. I wish I knew, certainly I wish I knew this when I was younger. So taking care of this temple, of this sacred temple, is really when we have to start and really being able to sustain our energy for longevity and a lot of things that we want to do in life. So that's, I think, as human experience is fantastic, and we want to just feel good in our body every single day. And so this is something that I wanted to mention before we start the day, and really looking at to this, what we're doing really backwards. Like I always think what my older self would tell me today, like what me so 10 years more, 60 years old me would tell me to do different today. Would definitely tell me move more, because and now I'm standing because I have such a sedentary lifestyle. This is my weak point. I don't move enough, and build more muscles so you don't fall down and don't break your hip or something. So, and we all have our own things that we have to ask. And I would encourage you to ask yourself, because this is where you go really deep, and this is where we can do some amazing work. And actually, if you go to Facebook group, I really appreciate what Trisha wrote, how she did her journey, because this was something that she was talking about, is not only like losing weight and stuff like this that are outside, like the vanity, like we want to look better, but it's about like now she's doing choices that are really fueling her health on everyday basis. And that's why I really love functional medicine, because obviously I am educated as a conventional medical doctor, but I love that functional medicine really connecting the mental, emotional, and spiritual like together, us as the health on many levels. And for me, it was as well, when I was healing, it was not only, yes, I improved my nutrition. Absolutely. I went from black to white. Did I move more? Yes, I have to, I realized I'm stressed all the time. I was in denial. I didn't sleep enough. I have a lot of night shifts, and I didn't take care of myself. But the last piece of puzzle for me, it was that I had to completely surrender and just do the body, let the body to heal. And this is something that we have to be really brave to do that. And sometimes we're very scared. And it takes some time before, for me, it was a last call was when I had really the red inflamed skin, when everybody told me, well, you have to have antibiotics at least for 6 months. And I said, oh my gosh, I don't want to do that. What else can I do? And that was the moment. I remember I was sitting in, we were living in Sydney in Australia. I was sitting on that beach, and I was reading article of Robert Lustig. He is as well here on the Facebook page somewhere. He's talking interview with Dr. Mark Hyman, so it was like 11 years ago, and I was sitting there, and there was an article, sugars causing inflammation. I'm thinking, oh really? How is that possible? Because 11 years ago we didn't know what we know now. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, maybe it's my Nutella and my night shifts and everything. So that was my breakthrough. I said, oh, I have a look at it. And then I find Dr. Mark Hyman and functional medicine, and that's why it's like, okay, I can't do anything else, only this, because it just makes sense. And this is, we are born to be, in optimal health. And of course, we have genetics. Of course, we have, we are prone to, you can't eating more carrot and wish for blonde hair. This is, we are what we are. We are perfectly fine if we are healthy. But the epigenetic that I'm talking about is the fact that we have so much power of this lifestyle linked concern that we have, and obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, inflammation, all these fatigues, the brain fog, and all that. We can do so much about it. So I just want to encourage you and really empower you that you can do that. It's hard. It's not easy task. I won't I'm here talking about, it's not easy. It's much easier to take a pill for headache instead of, have a cry and be, be in peace with your past or do whatever it needs doing. And so I just want to share this because it's super important. And because when you realize this is when you create this sustainable change, the transformation that I'm talking about, because we all can change. So transformation, change can happen without transformation, but change is something that we can change for 3 months and then go back to ourselves. Transformation is something we find that we cannot go back. Like I would never start drinking Coke every day. I would never do that, like, because I know it will damage my body so much, and will create at the end what is my weakness. Diabetes is my weakness, and rosacea is my weakness for now. I don't know what else, but I would find out if I would completely neglect my skin that time. I haven't about sometimes, but wait, I'm not talking about how conventional medicine is bad, not at all. I would sometimes we need antibiotics to treat, and a medication. If someone will find a parasite, of course we have to treat that. Of course, antibiotics saving lives. I'm talking about things that really we have power of, and something that can really shift us to a much better version of ourselves. Anyway, so this was 3 reminders. I hope it was helpful. If you have any question at this point before I start, let me know. Anybody has any, you want to share something so far that you had, you can unmute yourself and before I start, or you want to rather listen today. Let me know. Nobody wants to share?
Well, I'll share, but it may not, it's not on microbiome, but my problem is I put in Facebook, eating out. Yeah. I've been eating home every single day. And yesterday I went to a DAR meeting. Today I have to go to lunch, and it's like I screwed up, but I felt it this morning. I mean, that's a good thing. I could feel it.
Yes,
but anyway,
it's a very good
eating
thing.
out is hard.
It's actually a very good thing, and it's a good point, because this is where we have to really, the home cooking is so important, at least in the beginning, because when you have this, when you have this sensitivity already, you know what is good for you, and you know what is bad for you, because you feel on your body. In this transition, when you don't have this sensitivity yet, because maybe there's some, you are on sugar roller coaster, you have inflammation, and it's we cannot judge the situation. So I would definitely suggest to really do your home cooking, something easy. It's not difficult. Of course, it's sometimes it takes same time. Sometimes you have to go out, like you saying, but in that scenario, I would just eat before. So you're really full when you go somewhere for meeting. I know sometimes it's not possible, but I mean, we know life is not perfect. We do what we can do. Yeah, thank you for sharing, Wendy. And anybody, if you have any, like aha moment, just share it in a Facebook group, because it will inspire others. And so I would appreciate it, because I'm really, this year I want to focus on this community, because I think that now after COVID and all that, like we should focus on health, and really on optimal health. Because if we go to the doctor, it's like a sick care. We go and sometimes that's why I start doing this work, because I saw so many patients doing nothing and neglecting themselves for years, and then they develop diabetes, and then they come to me because they have complication of diabetes, and I look at the eye and they have diabetic retinopathy, and sometimes they go blind, and I cannot. It's just so sad. And so that's why I'm doing this work, because I want that we go upstream. I'm crying again. Okay, so I cry every single call, because it's just so sad that we can prevent this. And it's, as I said, it's not easy. And Trisha is saying as well that it was hard sometimes, but we really don't have any other option. We don't have option. If we want to get better, we have to sometimes step into these dark places and be like maybe not happy about stuff, but trust me, when you walk the hill, there is always fantastic view from the top. You know it. If you go uphill, there will be great things to see. Anyway, so let's go and talk about in this 20 minutes.
Hello, Rekha.
Yes, Roxanne.
It's Roxanne. Hey, I guess I got a little moved there by what Wendy was saying too. So I'll be really brief. But one of the great things that has come from this program and, prior to this program is for me, cooking more at home and to prepare and to learn and to build that craft. And I'm getting pretty good at it, but I do from time to time like to eat out. But what comes with that is an association more so from childhood, because when we would go out to eat, it would be exciting. It would be like a treat, a gift. But as I've become more masterful with my cooking, most of the places, unless it's a true organic, the food is nasty. So yesterday, real quick, I went to this one place, but they were closed. They were doing some work out there. And I had already in my mind, I wanted to eat out. So I went to this other place and so I had breakfast. And these eggs were so stinky, and I'm very sensitive anyway. I always have been. I have a good sense, and I was like, "What the heck is in these nasty eggs?" And so I called them over, and I'm like, "What?" I said, "This is not just plopped out of a chicken." I'm like, "What's in the eggs?" And so it turned out they told me that it came out of a box, and I'm like, "Okay, I didn't even want to hear anything else more." I said, "Chickens don't live in boxes," and so they ended up. Because I couldn't eat it. If I had eaten it, I know I would have gotten sick because there was chemical bad. So they subtracted the expense of the egg from my bill, but then I got kind of frustrated with myself because like, why did I do that? And so there's an addiction to the perception of what eating out means, what this means, what that means. And so I was able to, see that and be grateful that I can really cook now. So I just wanted to say that too. But yeah, that eating out, because I like to eat out sometimes, but that's one of those things I find is a trade-off with living this lifestyle, is that you just won't eat out as much. So
yeah, thank you for sharing, Roxanne. This is, again, it's not difficult to make a choice. You either eating things that coming from Earth, this planet that we live on, that like have no label, like eggs has no label, but if they put it in a box and process it and put some chemicals, of course they create something that is processed. And it's great that actually you could tell the difference. It's very unfortunate. I always ask in the restaurants which oil they're using. Like my husband, you're not asking in this restaurant what oil are they using. I always do ask, especially not when we are somewhere on a holiday. Obviously, in New York, I will not ask because I know that I will not come back ever to the restaurant. But in the local places, they all know me because I always talk about what ingredients, and don't be embarrassed, because they will appreciate it, and they will, most of the time they will tell you, well, canola oil. Some places when you go to the fine restaurant will be like they will tell you olive oil or butter, but if they tell you soybean oil, avoid this place, because whatever you have there, the soybean oil is fueled with omega-6 oils, and it will bring you to inflammatory state. And as I told you, I had this experience in diner. We were in New Jersey, somewhere in diner. I just had eggs, and actually the eggs taste good, but I felt so bad. And that time I didn't ask, but I've just afterwards, when we go next time, I was like, yeah, soybean oil. So yeah, I can tell. And it's not big deal. We have these experience, and we don't die if we have one time something bad. But if we have it on a regular basis, I'm always talking about this 80-20. So if we have 80% a healthy choice, you can have a donut, you can have a cake, have it with sugar, flour, and eggs twice a year. But you will know the difference. Trust me. We talk about Trisha. She's choosing not to have these things because it doesn't feel good, and that's where all goes to the feeling the body and really taking care of this temple as something secret. And there's no other choice, just take care of it. Tracy, you are unmuted. So thank you so much, Roxanne, for sharing it. You want to share something, Tracy?
One of the biggest challenges when it comes down to kind of eating properly is you want your food to taste good.
Yeah.
One that came up a lot was that, oh, it's healthy, but it just didn't taste good. When you're taking people, especially when you're like the person in charge of the cooking for the family, they're used to eating a certain way. And then you're like, well, we're going to do it. Well, you didn't put this in it. You didn't put that in it. And it's a pushback. So then your worry becomes, how do I feed them healthfully? And they the food and they want to eat it. That to me, that has always been the biggest because they're used to the pork, they're used to the oil, the sugar, the salt, the fat. And when you're trying to pull that out to be healthier, the food doesn't taste the same. They don't want it. And you don't want to be doing a pushback, but you're trying to convince them. And it's like a battle. So, how do we cook where the food is healthy, the way it's supposed to be, without the oil, without the sugar, without all the healthiness, and it tastes good? That has always been my biggest challenge.
Oh, I can answer that. I can say something to that real quickly. Because
Yeah,
I've been eating in, and I use it's spices and herbs, you know, the Ayurvedic, and I use ghee or whatever, and you put those spices and herbs. My husband now, instead of bringing home fried food or whatever, he comes home to eat because he said he knows I'm going to have lunch for him, and he loves. I mean, the food, the flavoring is so good. But also quickly on the restaurant, I forgot. There's what I do now. There's a Mexican restaurant and they had a tortilla soup. I mean, I said, do you have a different soup that has, you know, good food in it? And they said, yes. They brought out something that's not on the menu. It's like a tortilla soup, but it has food in it. It has, you know, you could see the carrots and the zucchini and the corn and everything. And I look at it, it is so good. I was like, oh my gosh, this has food in it. This is so good. So now when I go, I ask for the broth. It's just called broth. I don't know. I think my husband thinks it's something that they eat. So when you go to a restaurant, the same ones, and you just pick, you know what you're going to eat there. So when my husband goes to that Mexican restaurant, he just knows to pick up that soup. So that's another tip for people.
So how do you know which spices to use to make it really come alive in your mouth to enjoy it? I'm still trying to learn that.
Yes, so I can talk about that. I can make another video about the spices because I can talk about spice cabinet like for 20 minutes. So I can do that. But in like that you have some, like you can pick what will be a version for you accessible. But I want to tell you that the food company, they created a bliss point. All the companies that are in the, you know, you have all these things that are sitting on a shelf. They have a huge label, a lot of chemicals. The bliss point is basically a mixture, perfect mixture, as they did it in laboratory, of sugar, salt, and sugar and salt basically. And they create this to be addictive. Sometimes there's glutamate as well in these foods. So these foods are highly addictive, and you just only way you have to do it is not eating it. The best way, if someone is like, it's very hard to do it in a household when you like, this is the way how you do that. You only way how you can do this is just chop everything away, clean the kitchen, clean the pantry, because if it's in the kitchen, they will eat it, or whoever, kids or husband. And try to, you know, it's actually like, it's very hard to go from Doritos to baked carrot. But if you bake the carrot with the nice spices, if you add as well some like ketchup that is not with sugar, the Primal Kitchen, for example, for the kids, actually they will, and you will do not from going from 0 to 100, you will do some chips and some carrots. Say, you know what, have 3 carrots and then you can have chips. This is what I was lucky because my kids were small, but the peer pressure in school was huge. So my kids are 9 and 11, and so of course I always give them fruits and vegetables for snack. And my daughter come home and she said, my friend, she gave me crumbs from her biscuit because she said, poor Sophia, you always have such a bad snacks. So like the peer pressure is huge, but we know how harmful it is for these kids. So you have to do some education. You have to show them that, you know, like having cavities is something that kids should not have, and it's all from this goldfish. It's from Doritos that they have in school. All these things are actually savory. It's still, at the end of the day, it's sugar, and all these sticky things with flour, it sits on a teeth and creates cavity. So I can create a little like how to go from processed food to unprocessed food, but it's not easy, but it is possible. So for example, the best way, if you go, for example, somewhere for holiday, this I found the best, like get rid of the sweets. because when they hooked on sugar, like when we go to the pool and every kid's having sugar, so my kids will have sugar as well. And it's like, oh my gosh, so now I have to deal with it. The best we left for the holiday, and basically only food that they had was blueberries, strawberries, a carrot, chopped carrot, any fruit in summer. Do it in summer, don't do it now, and exchange it for the fruits that are really sweet. They are local from the farm that you can find, and you have to do a few things that really you can like not you have to lead them as example instead of like telling them, oh, you don't eat this, eat this instead. One of my clients, her kids were eating chips and everything. She did her journey herself without telling anything to anybody, but because the kids saw that she lost weight, she got she basically rejuvenate the kids. She inspired the whole family, and now she goes to her daughter, she's adult daughter, and she sees all the fruits on the table. So you can lead by example. I think is the most important thing you can do. And of course you will have a pressure back because you know, like my kids always telling me, mommy, you always like you always cooking so healthy, we want to be unhealthy. So sometimes I say, okay, so we go for pizza, like it's fine. But the point is that, yeah, like that's the society we live in, that's the mainstream, and it's not easy, Tracy. So but I can give you some principles if you want that would help you to really do the switch, because it's like it's few things that really worked in my case, but I can't talk about it now because we have not much time left for this microbiome. But send me email and we can have a call. I can sketch something for you, so that will be helpful for this age of kids. But yeah, it's not easy because everybody in school will eat ice cream for lunch and have a Doritos and a goldfish, right? I mean, this is kind of classic thing that we have. So
could you also help us understand how to do the computations? Because sometimes when you're picking up something, like let's say you pick up a can of tomato sauce, you don't know how to do the computation, tell how much sugar, teaspoon, tablespoon wise, how much salt is in something.
yeah,
And
so yeah, sorry.
so you're sitting up here, you're trying to figure it out, and you're like, okay, then you're trying to monetize a recipe.
Yeah.
Now I know things like barbecue and honey this and honey that, they're kind of really popular. So you got the honey plus the barbecue sauce, which is heavy in sugar, put together on the meat, not including whatever else they put on the meat. And then it's like, okay, you eat it, headache.
Yes, there are ways around it. There are ways around it. Yeah, as I said, I live it. It's ways around it. And with this barbecue sauce, there are some good on the market. I can navigate you. But you know, there are ways as well to kind of go around it. What I mean is by avoid always. Always quickly about the ingredient list. So if you see the label in the back of the bottle, there is ingredient list and there is the nutrition label. So how much is sugar, how much is salt, and all that. So first look at ingredients. If the sugar is first in line as ingredient, that means the sugar is the majority of the product. So if you look, for example, Nutella, sugar is first. If you look at some granolas, sugar is first. If you have some cereals, sugar is first. Try to find out a granola or cereals that has not sugar as a first. Maybe it will be wheat as first, or even so is not good. This will be a better scenario. You don't want to go from you know, like that speedy to other side. You want to go slowly, and before you know it, they will be eating better because you will basically supply better things with all these dips. And luckily we don't eat so much of it. I'm much more concerned, I would be with things that we eat large quantities. So if you have a little bit of ketchup, not big deal. But if you have tomato sauce and it's like 15 spoons in it, because it's pre-cooked, is in a jar, and it's filled with sugar, you eat the whole jar for 1 serving or 2 servings. So that's what is really bad. Same is yogurt. if you can give them white plain yogurt, they might be fussy in the beginning, but I tell you, this was quick in our family. The white yogurt, they can put some nuts, the seeds. If they don't like nuts and seeds, it's fine, but they can put their granola and they can put honey in it. But if you put 1 spoon of honey, that's better scenario instead of when you have the fruit yogurt where is like 5 spoons of sugar. So 1 teaspoon is 4 grams. Yogurt, usually fruit yogurt has more than like usually 5 or more spoons, depends what kind of yogurt. So this will be the one simple little thing. Yogurt is the one, the tomato sauce and the soups in the store. Bread is another one, like bread is sweet, meat, sausages, everything is sugar is in everything. So you have to always ask and in the shop and find the options. For example, if you go to Trader Joe's, they have better options because they have sausages without sugar, they have bread without sugar, they have yogurt with sugar instead of high fructose corn syrup. So high fructose corn syrup, if you see that on the label, put it back. It's so bad. It's because, you know, when we eat it too much, goes straight to the liver because fructose is behind fatty liver disease. So for high fructose corn syrup that is everywhere, don't use it. So that was yogurt. Another one is juices. Like if you can, you have to. So one of my daughter, because she didn't want to drink, I gave her like years ago juice. And I said, how I now get off of the juice. So basically I took a bottle and I diluted day by day more and more water. And you can't, of course, do it 50-50 first day. But if you do 50-90 first day, 50-80, like, sorry, 10-90 first day, if you dilute it day by day, they will get used to the taste. Because imagine if you eat all these food, we are hijacked so bad. We are addicted. Our dopamine pathway. It's like, I'm not talking about sugar addiction in this masterclass because I'm doing it in different one. But this is not easy, but it is really possible, Tracy. And you can cook delicious meals that are actually healthy. I would never compromise a taste. Like food should be tasteful, like it should be delicious, and in the same way should not nourish ourselves. With kids that are really hooked on this food is not easy, but it's only way how they can because they can be better. You know, they will have better brain function when they are not on the sugar. They will sleep better. They will just all the physiology and biology will be better. So I see with many kids, I see with my kids. So as I said, this topic, I can talk about this for hours, but Tracy, get in touch with me and I can help you with that.
Thank you.
All right. So today topic is gut microbiome. Patricia, do you have any question before I start? I see that you are unmuted. I guess not. So I carry on. Very good. So let's dive in. It will be very quick because we have 20 minutes, but I want to tell you just the basics and the something that, you know, we know even in children, we just talk about it, how they hooked on sugar. Yes, it's really, you have to be consistent. You have to lead by example and do the work, because otherwise, like, we have no other option. For health, if you want to stay healthy and if you want to be happy. And so we know now that this gut bacteria that are in our guts running everything, every processes in our body. We have extensive intestinal lining in our body. I can show you here. So just to understand, so when we eat something, we think that it goes inside, but actually it's a tube that goes here in and back there is go out. And it's basically a tube that we can, this is the conversation that we have with our body. And that is only the things, if things go inside in the body, we will die instantly. So that's why we have the lining everywhere in this tube. And in the gut, there is a lining that we now talk about a lot, and we call it if it's damaged, that the people have leaky gut, which is like we call it in literature intestinal permeability, that it's increased. And this is where we don't want this situation, because this is where we can have obesity, we can have diabetes. Now they're talking as well about other things that are not related to gut health. Basically, we don't want to have any leaky gut, and majority of people have leaky gut. I had leaky gut as well. I had to do a lot of things to heal this, because we basically, what we want is this tight barrier. So imagine we have only one, this is a wall of cells, is just one line, and here is mucin layer where all the bacteria sits, and this is our bloodstream. So if the mucin layer is damaged, and here we have bacteria that producing all these metabolites, they go in the bloodstream, and everything works well. But when we have here unhealthy gut lining, you see we can lose the mucin layer. This is really simplistic. It's much more complicated. A lot of reaction is happening, but I just want to really explain to you in a simple way so you can understand what's going on. And if we have unhealthy gut lining, this can cause, can create large cracks and holes, and allowing the partially digested food toxins or the bacteria penetrate the tissue beneath it. And this is what we call intestinal hyperpermeability. And this is exactly what it sounds like. Basically, the digestive tract is no longer able to ensure that the good stays in and bad stays out, because we want this out, right? This one is this moves with a bowel movement, and we basically this goes out. And this tight junction basically are not able to hold this wall together, and they're loosened. And this is a problem, because the body reacts to these foreign particles that goes here by producing immune antibodies, pro-inflammatory cells, and this breeds chemical inflammation. Sometimes people will have immediate, if you eat something, you have immediate reaction from healthy food, because even if a blueberry component goes here, it will create, because it should be all intact, like here. And that's why if you're inflamed, if you have food allergy, if you have various health complications, we have to, unfortunately, this is one of the causes that we can have. And this is not only, as I understood, this, I don't want to go much into detail, but the thing is with the leaky gut, it's not only that will kind of be root cause for the digestive issue. It's actually now showing, the science is showing us that leaky gut can be associated as well with autoimmune disease like lupus, type 1 diabetes, multiple sclerosis, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, all these aches and pains, arthritis, allergies, asthma, acne, if you have some skin issues, mental illnesses as well. So that's why it's so important to talk about this. And sugar and gluten are the ones that are really like triggering this gut. Fructose, especially fructose, it's directly damaging the gut lining because it's stealing the energy from the cells, and the cells basically, again, simplistically explained, and basically the cells are not able to be together and create holes. And really the triggers that are the worst one are sugar, exposure to chemicals. For example, if you I share the food that you can eat organic and what you don't need to. This is where we want to really minimize the glyphosate exposure. So the Roundup, because everything is sprayed these days. Gluten is another one. Gluten is so problematic in many people, and now unfortunately it's like everywhere. Gluten is even in food that you will not expect, even in the sauces. But what I want to explain as well is that poorly managed stress can as well cause leaky gut, and as well some food allergies. So I have a patient, actually she was my client, and she was having allergies all her her last 10 years. She was like these seasonal allergies, and we were working together, and once she called me and she said, I actually realized that I didn't have allergy this year. I was like, wow. So she was able to heal from the inside out, and she doesn't have allergies anymore. So, and we know this can happen. That's why sugar makes leaky gut, gluten makes leaky gut. As simple as that, because it really triggers the release of zonulin which is, I don't want to bore you with science, but it's basically increase the permeability by further opening the spaces between the cells. So it makes it more. This is what happens. So the zonulin is between. This is when it's all fine, all these dots, and when it's white, then we have problems. And this actually, one scientist, it's Professor Fasano from Harvard, he showed and he presented one day that sugar, that gluten is causing transient leaky gut in all of us, but transient. So everybody like, really? Yes, he showed that basically that's what gluten does. And of course, in past, we didn't eat so much gluten like we're eating today. So we had less problems. And as well, the gluten like wheat, barley, rye, we had the ancient grain, which was not there was not GMO, and it was different grain with different other proteins. So this is another problem that I don't want to talk about today, but just if you think that you're really helping yourself to just become more healthier, and when you have gut in place, this will help you with other stuff, like you will have less inflammation, you will have less brain fog, because we know how important it is to have the tight barrier that nothing goes in your bloodstream. So very often I have people that they eat something and they have either headache immediately, or they have, of course, you can have always gastrointestinal issues, like you are bloated and you have this and that, but as well, don't forget that if you eat some food and then you have symptoms like suddenly headache or pain somewhere, or this can be related as well of either food intolerance or leaky gut or something else, but that's one of the main things. And so how we want to so if you take out sugar, if you take out gluten, if you manage your stress better, if you will get of the bad plastic that we have in an environment, if you think what you don't want to expose, if you can buy some fruits that and vegetables that are not GMO from this list, you don't need to buy things that are not sprayed that much. That's why I share the Dirty Dozen and Clean 15. It's in a Facebook group. And so that's really important. And what is linked to this, why we're talking about gut health today, because it's really crucial, because this bacteria, as I said, are so important for our health and well-being. They are everywhere. So they are in the eyes, in the skin, in the nose, in the ears, everywhere. By majority of the gut bugs are in the gut. And we are actually more bacteria than human cells. We are basically walking bacteria. Because the human, our tract is really colonized by large microorganisms, including bacteria, viruses, fungi, protozoa. And we actually now, when we were so isolating, we actually lost some of these. And we can see now so much event that we are not able to really fight the other bacteria, because we need diversity of bacteria. We need a lot of different bacteria, and we want the bacteria that are not creating inflammation, because they are good and bad. If I say, there are some bacteria that we call pathogenic, and so we want the right balance, and that we call symbiosis. This is when we have all the good bacteria that are thriving when we're eating diet rich in whole foods and fruit, vegetables, and all the function in the body and immune response will be healthy then, if we have this symbiosis. And this is all, that's why we're talking about food, because we feeding this gut bacteria. They love the fiber. I will get to fiber in a minute. And then either when we're eating this processed food and all these chips and all these anything that is in a package, this is gut dysbiosis. And you don't need to remember this name, but just that that this is a difference, because these bacteria, this is source of inflammation, not only in the gut, but throughout the whole body, increase the risk of developing chronic illnesses. This happens when we eat sugar, when we eat gluten, soda, fried food, and processed food. Fried food is just absolute disaster. Even if it's like good fish, if you fry it in soybean oil, like all the good quality of the good fish is basically diminished, because the soybean oil is just so bad. And what I want to tell you, the gut microbiome, it's so powerful. So you cannot change, like you cannot, if you're Japanese, you are certain bacteria, and they, especially why I say Japanese, because they have bacteria that they can really metabolize the seaweed. We don't have this type of bacteria. We have bacteria for other stuff. That's why always look back what your ancestry ate. So for example, if you're from Thailand, you'll be very well off with rice, with a lot of vegetables, with coconut oil, with coconut milk, and all these foods. If you're from Europe, you'll be, depends on where your ancestry will be really depending. Like if you're from the north, you'll be good with milk, you'll be good with meat, because that's what majority of the year they can't really grow much vegetables will be. If you're from south, you'll be eating like a lot of vegetables, lot of so always think of what your mom ate, what your grandma ate, because that's, we inherit the gut microbiome from our mothers. Especially it's good if you or your if we born with naturally, not with C-section, because we know now from science that children born with C-section, they don't have this bacteria that they get when they go through the birth channel, all the lactobacilli, they miss that, and because they don't get it when they go from the stomach out, and this can have lifelong, unfortunately, this can change for life. So that's why it's important if then to have a good breastfeeding, so we have the bacteria that we need and the gut health from the start. And if even not that is possible, you can always really improve your gut microbiome by eating more fiber, more probiotics, prebiotics, and fermented food. And this is what I want to tell you, because before I go there, actually I wanted to mention this picture, because the bacteria are so powerful that there was doing some science with a mouse, so, and with a human. So they took lean and obese humans and take their feces and transplant them into their bacteria into the mice. This mice was born, it was like same mice, and it was born into sanitized world, and they could make the mice thinner or fatter depending on what microbiome it has. And this is now, well, we're doing a lot of research with autistic children, because we know that, you know, the fecal transplantation, we did fecal transplantation with someone who has Clostridia difficile. So we transplant the different gut microbiome, and we can see results with diabetes as well. So it's all like exciting, and we know we have so much power over it. But the recent study that shows us, this will be the last thing I want to share today, is with really, you know, there was a science going on, like how we can improve our gut microbiome. Is it because to eat more fiber, like the prebiotics, the food rich in fiber, and this calls prebiotics, because with prebiotics, with the fiber, we eat the probiotics. Probiotics are all the bacteria, and the bacteria, when they're chewing the prebiotics, they produce postbiotics, and postbiotics are, for example, short chain fatty acids. Again, I don't want to bore you with that, but basically those metabolites that the bacteria creates, this will create a reaction in your body and will influence many chemical reactions, and will really either cause inflammation and will really bring you more to a healthier state. And that's why it's so important. And the latest science from Stanford, they find out they were feeding people with either fiber, one group was with probiotics, and one group was with three things, actually, with probiotics and prebiotics. And so they ate, so what prebiotics are, that's the apple, the asparagus, the dandelion greens. Wait, I have to mute someone here. Dandelion greens, all the vegetable, jicama, leek, legumes, onion, peas, you know, radicchio. So all these food are prebiotics. That's why vegetables, it's not only for the you know, yesterday I was talking about oxidation And I was talking about free radicals. That's one way, like oxidative stress. This is other way how we can really feel the body better when we're eating a lot of prebiotic food, which are really food rich in fiber. So all vegetables will do. And then there are the probiotics. Those are the bacteria. So in this study, they were eating vegetables because you have to feed. That's why I see how many people, they just never get results because they spend so much money eating probiotics. And then, yes, it can help, of course, but then they don't eat the vegetables to feed them. So they basically, they will not have a long life because they will just, basically go in and out. Because now as well, the science showing us that we can have extension of some of these bacteria because we don't eating this food. Because imagine that each bacteria eat different fiber. They have capacity to eat different kind of food. And so those are probiotics, prebiotics, and probiotics are the foods that are, this is the acetophenol milk, buttermilk, aged cheese, cottage cheese, kefir, sour cream, yogurt, either can be, plain, can be no added sugar, and it can be as well dairy, basically anything that is fermented, kimchi, kombucha, kvass, miso, pickled vegetables, sauerkraut, tempeh, all these foods are shown in the science that when you eat both. And in this paper, in the scientific research, they did kombucha, sauerkraut, and oh wait, somebody else coming in. Kombucha and sauerkraut and yogurt. These combo and some obviously eating a lot of vegetables during the day, and they could see that the profile of gut microbiome got better. So it was like less inflammatory. We could see from the blood, it was less inflammation because we can have markers to see this. So that's why it's just so important to dial into this. And really, I know it can be really hard suddenly eating this food. It might not taste good, and but trust me, it's only transition. You will love this food because it will feel so good. But of course, we all want now the instant gratification. We eat because but it will change when you start feeding the body with different food. It will be really feeling fantastic. I mean, I don't know how to say it differently in a simple terms because this is how we can create health and do the picture, as I told you before, seeing from the inside out and really seeing this body as a temple. And this will help you to create better gut microbiome that will influence everything in the body and will shift you really to the optimal health. So this was like a mouthful, I know, but I hope it was helpful. Please, I would love to chat with you, but I have to pick up kids now, so I have limited time. But that's why I created a chat in the Facebook group that you can really ask me anything. I don't want to miss any comments or questions that you have, because this week is for you. I really want to help you with this. Tracy, I will come back to you with that. Please send me email. And if anybody of you have any questions, I'm here to help you, and I can't wait to see you again tomorrow. If you want to watch replay tonight, it will be again at 4 o'clock in Facebook group. I can answer question there. Other than that, I will see you tomorrow.
Hey, if Roxanne wants to get on Facebook, I'll put some of the spices I use on it.
Okay, perfect. Yes, Wendy, thanks.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you, everyone. It was nicely to see you all. Take care.
Yep, thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Have a good day.